says, why has the New Age philosophy infiltrated the church? He said, because I hear some preachers say Christ consciousness, the universe, etc. And they say things like that the Bible, that they say things that are not biblical. Okay, how did we get to this place? Well, great question, Dave. We do have to understand that, the church has been strategically infiltrated. This is not by happenstance, okay? Because I've heard a lot of people who are not in the faith, when you make a point or something, they'll say, oh, Christians can't even believe amongst themselves. I mean, basically agree amongst themselves. So how can you, argue a point? You have to understand that the different denominations that's in Christianity, that was strategically done by infiltration from Satanists. Like, that was not just something that organically happened within the church. I need you guys to understand that. Okay, now if it just organically happened in the church, then you can say, oh, well, you guys just don't agree amongst yourselves. Okay, that was strategically done so people could say that. Okay, so you have to understand that Satanists literally came into the church, pretended to be converts. Okay, pretended to be converts. Okay, because again, we have to understand that the devil understands the Bible. He understands strategy. He understands what the Bible says, and he believes what the Bible says. So he knows that the Bible is right when it says that a kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. Okay, so he used that very strategy. He's been trying to use that very strategy against the church. Okay, so they strategically came in to the church, infiltrated the church, and then caused these, basically brought in different doctrines and all these different things to cause the different denominations that we see now. Okay, so you have the culprits that come in, causes the division, and then backs out and says, oh, well, look at them, can't even agree amongst themselves. Okay, that's typical strategy. That's just what the enemy does. Just like he'll get you to sin, right? He'll tempt you with something, get you to sin, help you sin, and then back up and go to God and be trying to report you. Well, see, look at what your man or woman of God did. Okay, the same one that came in and did it is the same one now that takes the same thing that they did and then tries to use it against you. So that was very, very strategically done. So when you're seeing all these different things infiltrating the church, understand that this is very strategically done. Even when you look at how much they've been pushing New Age, okay, that's not by happenstance. I mean, think about it. You literally, let's say for those of you who watch YouTube, some of you are on YouTube right now. When you look at some of these commercials, it'll be like a commercial about, I don't know, GoDaddy or internet stuff. And you'll see somebody doing yoga. And it's like, okay, that has nothing to do with the yoga. You'll see a commercial about the bank, financial services, and somebody's doing yoga. And it's like, okay, it's very obvious that there is a clear strategy as to what is being peddled into our communities. Okay, so that's what's happening, Dave. And another big part of the infiltration of the church also came through television. Okay, we have to understand, most people don't even know that television was invented by the Nazis for the specific purpose of, well, there's certain things I can't say on YouTube. Okay, so we have to understand that because they knew once it was invented, they were trying to figure out a way where they could get people susceptible to suggestion so that they could be able to, I guess, have basically mind control on a massive scale. And they realized, hey, if you sit here and you look at this television screen, the first 2 to 3 minutes while you're looking at that screen, just the gamma rays and the things that's coming into your eyes and your face, it's automatically making you susceptible to suggestion. And then as you're sitting there watching it beyond those 2 to 3 minutes, now all of the information, the subliminal messages that's in the movie or the programs that you're watching, television programs, okay, that you're watching, now it's easier for those programs to program you, okay? So we have to understand that all of that is strategically done, okay? So, and we're sitting here sleeping with our eyes wide open because everything they intend to do, they literally do it right in front of our face. And they have to, because the Bible says that anything that's done in the dark must be brought to the light. So typically you'll see them put the things right in the movies and right in the shows that we're watching. Literally. I mean, half of the shows nowadays that you watch on Netflix, I don't know, Amazon Prime, any of these other streaming platforms that you watch, you see a lot of superhero stuff. Okay. But the word hero itself is in the Bible, it's in Hebrews. Heroes were those big giants. Okay. Those Nephilim, well, yeah, try to be careful with that word on here too. Those people from back in the days of Noah, right? Remember the ones that God tried to, because the people had done what they weren't supposed to do with these fallen angels and things. God had to literally come in and restart the trajectory of mankind. Otherwise, we would have lost our entire lineage or existence. So once it got to the point where it was so bad, where they had interbreeded so much with these creatures that it was literally only Noah's family left, God had to come down and say, okay, if I'm going to save mankind and have a pure lineage of just human beings, not mixed with anything else, I'm going to have to get rid of all these people. That's how the whole flood happened, right? When Noah built the ark and all of that. So we're seeing the same thing again. The only difference is there's better technology now, right? So it's easier to program people because there's better technology now. There's satellites now. There's just frequencies that can be released, and messages can be sent through those frequencies, and people have already been getting programmed by the television. So now it makes it easier for these other frequencies as well to be effective. So again, and then everything they're planning on doing is literally right in front of our faces, where we're seeing all these heroes, right? We're seeing, and then before you know it, when you start seeing your favorite superhero become a reality, people are already going to be programmed for it, right? So when we watch like shows like Supergirl, oh, she's half alien, half human. Oh, wow, that's so cool. She's able to do all this cool stuff because she's half alien and half human. But we all know what aliens are, right? So at the end of the day, that's where they're taking us. So when we get to a point where they're like, uh, there's been an alien invasion, right? We have all of these beautiful creatures that have all these cool superpowers coming into the earth. People are going to be all excited because that's what they've seen in Marvel. That's what they've seen in X-Men. That's what they've seen, right? So we're already being programmed for the stuff. So when they come out and say, oh, all these cool creatures are coming in, they came from their own little galaxy, they have all this extra knowledge they want to give us. They can even help us with our health. They have some medicine and things, that will help us to live for 300 years. And, if you get with them, you won't even need health insurance. And as a matter of fact, you'll get medication now that you will take it, and you'll feel like even if you're 80 years old, you can take this thing and it'll make you feel like you're 30, and then you'll live 300 years. Okay. And you'll be in your best health ever. And your mind will be so sharp. It'll be sharper than just your average human brain. Okay. And now people will have IQs that are like out of the box. I mean, like in like the 300s, which doesn't even exist. Right. So guys, this is where it's going. And then they'll be like, and not only that, but when you take this stuff, you may even get a cool superhero power. That's where it's going. And they're showing us exactly where it's going. When you see your cool superhero, your favorite superhero become a reality, who's going to walk away from that and say, oh, no, I'm not taking that, right? Because now how are you going to compete? If everybody else is taking it, and now all the jobs are taken because these people are way smarter than you, than the normal human being, right? Or all of the athletic positions are taken because these people are way bigger and stronger because they have these other, strengths that are just supernatural and that are beyond the normal human being. How is your child going to compete? Even on the playground, all the kids are 3 times their size, or the kids can fly. You know, they have supervision, super hearing. Think about it. All what is the number one theme in all the shows and movies that we're seeing right now? Tell me it's not that. Okay, we are being prepared, and it's right before our eyes. Yet the church is sleeping because again, is strategically being done. The infiltration is being strategically done, and because people are just thinking that there's nothing happening, which the number one most powerful strategy I think that the enemy has been successful with is getting people to believe, number one, that he doesn't exist, and number two, that God will just take care of everything and we can just sit around and not be proactive, not pay attention, and yet everything will be okay. But look at the condition that the church is in. Look at the, just the persecution that the church is taking on because we're not doing anything. We're not saying anything. We're just letting it happen, even though we're the ones that were left in charge of the earth. And so if God came down right now and said, hey, didn't I leave you guys in charge? I told you guys to tear down stuff, uproot stuff, build and plant new stuff, go forth and multiply. I told y'all to do that. What's going on? Let me see. Let's do a check on the earth and see what condition it's in. Who's going to be held accountable for that? The church, because he left us in charge. He's the one that he gave all power and authority to. But yet we're sitting around waiting for him to do something when we are the ones that's been given the authority to do it. He wouldn't have told us to tear down and uproot things if he didn't know that there were going to be things that we would need to tear down and uproot, which means that assignment is to us to do that, not to sit around waiting and thinking that God is going to come down from heaven and do it when he's already left us in charge of the earth to do it. So all of this infiltration, Dave, number one, it's happening because we're allowing it to happen. And number two, because we're so naive and so asleep at the wheel that we don't even realize that it's being strategically done. Okay, but great question though, because I did want to, just kind of get some of these points out here because I just see it's just very, very obvious that the church is asleep right now, and we intercessors, we need to be praying and praying and praying, because for every intercessor that gets on the threshing floor and gets in position and begins to pray the way that they're supposed to, like churches across the globe start to wake up. Okay, for those of you who are intercessors and you don't understand your value, that's the reason why the enemy attacks you so much. That's the reason why, when God wakes you up at 2, 3 in the morning to pray, you want to lay back over and go back to sleep because you're not really understanding, well, what is the point of even getting up to pray? Because you don't understand in the grand scheme of things, just how important you are as an intercessor. Know that you are important because the Bible says, if my people who are called by my name, who are named after him, Christians, and we'll turn from their wicked ways, we'll humble ourselves and pray, then he can heal the land. So he needs us to be praying. So be prayerful if you're an intercessor on here, or even if you're not, and you find the Lord waking you up at certain times, get up and pray, because we need it. We need it more than you could possibly ever believe. Because if the enemy continues in the trajectory that he is, and he's trying to speed up things, he's literally trying to make our world like the things that you're watching on TV. Okay, so for those of you who think that it's cool, okay, you've been programmed. Okay, all right. So next question is from Tosh.